Hey guys, this is Arkel here again, and this time I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. I'm actually going to be doing the most recent BJD Addicts prompt, and as much as I really wanted to do the prompts previously, I just felt kind of really awkward because, I don't know, like, you can't really see my face, and a lot of times I think the prompts are meant for sort of like owner interaction where you can actually see people, and I don't know. I always felt really awkward just doing the prompts because you can't really see me, but hopefully you guys don't mind and you guys like hearing me ramble. So if you guys don't like me doing this, you can just tell me to stop, it'll be all good. But I thought this was an interesting prompt, and actually something that people ask me a lot too since I've gotten into this hobby, so I thought it'd be fun to answer it, and this is prompt 45, I believe, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and answer this. It's all about sort of like the numbers of your dolls and how they've increased and how you thought they would increase and that kind of stuff. So anyway, it has 4 parts, and the first part is, have you ever noticed how your dolls multiply? Yes, my dolls did multiply rather fast. If you guys know that I got into the hobby about, well, technically I researched the hobby for about an entire year before I actually got my first doll. And then once I got my first doll, it's been about a year since then. It's been a little bit more than a year. So yeah, and in that period, I have got like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you count a floating head, and then 9, 10 on the 2 on the way. So yeah, I have gotten a lot of dolls in a short period of time, and I have noticed it, and I acknowledge it, and yeah. Anyway, I'll get to it in a second, never mind. 2 is, have you ever set a limit for the number of dolls that you were going to own, I guess? Not really. When I first was looking into this hobby, it's actually kind of funny. I wanted so many dolls. Like, I wanted like 50. I wanted so many of them. And as I sort of researched more into the hobby and was a bit more realistic about the dolls that I wanted, it's actually, the number has gone down significantly. Because when I first got into the hobby, I just wanted dolls because they were pretty. But I sort of realized that, okay, I have to put some limits on this, or else I'm just going to, have all these dolls and I wouldn't know what to do with them all. So the limit that I made was that I wanted to have characters for the dolls that I would be getting. I didn't want to just buy a doll because it was pretty. I wanted to at least have a direction and a character and things like that. So there's not a ton of characters that I would want to shell in dolls. It's mostly just the characters that I know the most about and are most meaningful to me. Are the ones that I wanted to shell. So that number has gone down quite considerably. Now my kind of limit for dolls is about 30. I might go over that, I might go under that, I don't really know, but I honestly have no issue with having a lot of dolls. I can manage them all really well. I'll give them attention and buy them things, and I like having a lot of dolls because if I grow a little bit bored of one, I can just pick up the other one and be inspired by them, and it fluctuates. So I really like having a lot of dolls, and I think that I'm good at maintaining a lot of them. So the third part of that question is, did you keep your limit? I will technically have 10 if you count my Eileen doll, Dragon, as a regular BJD, and if you count my floating head. So I'll technically have 10 by the time that my other 2 get here. So yes, I've kept that. Like I said, 30 is about, I think, taking into consideration all the characters that I want to shell, like realistically want to shell, and some dolls that I just really, really want, like as Grail dolls, I should be able to keep that, but if I go over it, I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, as long as the hobby makes me happy, that's what's important. But anyway, let's see. 4. Once you got your doll, did you find yourself wanting more? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I had been researching the hobby extensively for, like I said, about an entire year before I'd gotten my first doll. And that being said, it wasn't like just casually glancing over dolls on occasion. I literally researched every possible thing I could, like watching hundreds of videos and, you know, scouring Den of Angels when I finally got an account, and just, yeah, I did a lot of research. So it wasn't a sort of scary process when I got my first doll. Like, I pretty much knew everything, not by experience, but by research, and that's kind of how I like to do a lot of things, is I like to be very cautious and research things as much as possible before I get into them. So that way, once I do, I really know what I'm doing. And usually, if I haven't lost interest after all that time, I'm usually not going to lose interest in something. So I pretty much knew that I would have more dolls in the future. Like, it wasn't one of those cases where, oh, let me get one doll and see how I like it. It was like, okay, here's my first doll. This will get me ready for all the other ones that I want. So yeah, I knew that I would have a ton of them just because I know myself. And when I like something, I like something. It's really easy for me to tell because there's very few things that I'm very passionate about. And when I find something that I'm passionate about, I'm very passionate about it. So it was not surprising to me. The second part of that question, it says, well, once you got your first doll, did you find yourself wanting more? Or were you happy with the ones that you have? I was actually really content with just having one. I always wanted a lot more, like I said. But when I got him, I was rather content with just having Shu, my first doll. He's not in the camera thingy right now, but I was very content with having him, and I really liked having him by himself. But I don't like my doll characters to be alone, and I know that sounds really strange and stupid since they're inanimate objects, but they have very significant characters to me, and those characters usually have at least one other person that's very significant in their life. So when I got Shu, I knew that I also wanted to get the two other members of his trio, Calliope and Etzel. I knew that I wanted to at least get that, because I don't like my characters to be alone, even if they are just dolls, because their characters aren't alone. It makes me sad to sort of think of them that way. I don't know, it's really, really silly, and it's dumb because they're dolls, but I like all my dolls to have at least one other person that's close to them in their story. So I always knew that I'd get more, but I was really happy with just having him, but the more the merrier. So anyway, that's pretty much all of this prompt. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, like I said, that when I first started looking into this hobby, I thought I would have so many more dolls, but now I'm slightly more realistic about it, and I think I'll have a considerably less amount, but still quite a lot. And I don't see that as a bad thing or as a scary thing either. Like I said, I'm very good at devoting time to each and every one of them, even if it's spread really thin, I guess. I still buy them all different things and take pictures of them sometimes, and make videos with them and all that good stuff, so it's not too scary for me. So anyway, yeah, so this has been that prompt, and maybe I'll answer more prompts in the future. I'm not really too sure, but I really like this one, so I wanted to answer it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I want to make one more video as just sort of a little update for this new year, I guess. But anyway, yeah, so yeah.